All right, let's dive into a story that's, well, it's challenged and inspired people for thousands of years. We're talking about a story of incredible faith, faced with a command from God that seems to defy all logic. We're going to unpack the ultimate test, Abraham and the altar. So what is the ultimate test of faith? I mean, really think about that. It's a question that echoes through time, right? Well, for Abraham, the answer wasn't some philosophical idea. It was a command, an unthinkable one, a test designed to push his devotion to the absolute edge. And this question? It's the very heart of the story we're getting into today. Okay, so first, let's get the backstory right. You've got Abraham. This is a man who's been walking with God for decades. He and his wife Sarah were promised a son in their old age. I mean, talk about a miracle. And this son wasn't just any son. He was the key to a promise that they'd have descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. And that son's name is Isaac. And you have to understand, he's not just a cherished kid. No, he is the literal walking, breathing embodiment of God's promise. Isaac is the future, the covenant, the legacy. He's everything Abraham had been waiting for his entire life. He is, in every single way, absolutely priceless. And then this happens. God gives a command. And listen to the way he says it. Take your son, your only son, whom you love. It's like each word is designed to just twist the knife, to build up that emotional weight. It makes what comes next just staggering, because this command seems to fly in the face of the very promise God just made. We're talking about a test of almost unimaginable proportions. So how does Abraham react to this impossible command? Does he argue? Does he question? Nope. He just obeys without a word of protest. And that's what kicks off the next part of this story, a quiet, probably agonizing journey to the place of sacrifice in the region of Moriah. And this is so important to get. This wasn't some rash, heat-of-the-moment decision. The journey took 3 full days. Can you imagine? That's 3 days for Abraham to second-guess himself, to be filled with doubt, to turn back. Every single step he took was a conscious choice to keep trusting God, even when it made absolutely zero sense. That long, slow walk, it just makes his obedience that much more profound. And then the tension just skyrockets. Isaac asks this simple, innocent question. He's like, "Dad, the fire and wood are here, but where's the lamb?" He sees everything they need for a sacrifice except for the actual animal. You can just feel the weight of that moment. The complete trust of a son in his father, and the father's heart just breaking, knowing what he's been told to do. Abraham's answer here, wow. It's one of the most incredible statements of faith in the entire Bible. Is he just saying something to calm his son down, or is this something more? A genuine prophetic belief that the same God who gave him the promise would somehow, some way, have to provide a solution. It's just an unbelievable display of trust when everything looks completely hopeless. Okay, so now we're at the top of the mountain. This is it. The climax of the story. This is the moment where faith has to become action, where belief turns into a brutal, heart-wrenching reality. And what happens next is just, it's so methodical it's almost hard to hear. He builds the altar, he arranges the wood, and then the unthinkable. He binds his son Isaac, his own son, and he lays him on the altar. As Abraham raises that knife, you have to realize, in his heart, he's already done it. He has completely obeyed. He's holding absolutely nothing back from God. And right there, in that split second of total surrender, everything changes. The story takes a dramatic turn, because we're about to find out that the true point of this test wasn't the sacrifice itself, but the divine intervention that comes next. At the very last second, a voice calls out from heaven. It's an angel of the Lord. The action stops cold. Abraham's hand is stayed. The knife doesn't fall. And here's the crucial point, right? The whole purpose was never for Isaac to actually die. The purpose was to reveal what was in Abraham's heart. God was testing him to see, did he love the gift, his amazing son, more than the one who gave the gift? And the answer was no. The test was passed. And right then, Abraham looks up, and what does he see? A ram, caught in a thicket by its horns. God himself provided the sacrifice that was needed. A substitute was right there, ready to take Isaac's place on the altar. So, because of this, Abraham names that very spot Jehovah Jireh. And that means the Lord will provide. This isn't just a name for a mountain, you know? It becomes a name that describes God's own character, a declaration for all of history that our God is a provider, that He is faithful. So, why do we still talk about this ancient story? Why does it have such power, especially for Christians? Well, it's because this moment on the mountain is a piece of a much, much bigger picture, a picture of redemption. Yeah, from a Christian point of view, this story is just loaded with meaning. First, it shows us that real faith isn't just something you think or feel, it's something you do. It's active obedience. It also tells us that when God tests us, it's not to crush us, but to prove and strengthen our faith. And maybe most importantly, it introduces this incredible idea of a substitute, one provided by God Himself. And this is where the parallels just click into place and become crystal clear. For Christians, this whole story is a powerful preview, a foreshadowing of the gospel. Think about it. Abraham was willing to offer his only beloved son. Centuries later, God the Father would offer His one and only son, Jesus. A ram was the substitute for Isaac. Jesus, the Lamb of God, became the substitute for all of us. And just like Abraham essentially got Isaac back from the dead, God raised Jesus from the dead, winning the ultimate victory over sin and death. You know, when you look at it this way, the story completely reframes the whole idea of sacrifice. It shows us that the greatest sacrifice wasn't actually what Abraham was asked to do. It was a picture of what God Himself would one day do for every single one of us. So it leaves us with this final thought to wrestle with. What does it really mean to trust a God who provides, even when, from our perspective, all we can see is the altar?